Right, well, I've really got to get a move on because I've only got 10 minutes and I've got a wee bit to tell you. So here's one of the gates in a state of corrosion, as I mentioned in the other film. There's the skirt I mentioned lying at the side. That's been there for over a year. I'm sorry about wafting the camera about. But there's the other side, the gate on the other side, also equally corroded. And here's the lock that I mentioned. Now this is difficult because I've got to try to watch it in the screen and operate the lock at the same time so that you can see what I'm talking about. Here's the lock in question. Notice there's a bolt missing at the top here. So this plate is loose and will rattle around, right? So we come down and we come to this like it's a little tongue. I call it a tongue anyway. Little tongue thing that is supposed to be out so that it enables the bolt to function. Right? But as you can see, it's just dropped inside there again. That means that this bolt now is jammed. It's got a chamfer on it because it acts like a latch. Now while that's down inside there, this bolt won't work. It stays there, so you can't shut the gate. Right? If I free that, right, that works. But as soon as you try to shut the gate, it slams it like that, and it just doesn't work. That's why they don't close the gates, Mary. They can't shut them. Here at the bottom we've got a bolt that's got a bit of a damaged head on it, but that's the material. But that's why they can't shut the gates, Mary, because the bloody locks don't work. I'm sorry about this, but I don't want you to get sick while I move the camera about. This old dog hasn't learned the new trick of fitting clips in. Oh, here we go. Right, there's the keys on the floor. Very difficult working on your own, you know. A one-man band. Well, that's me. Always has been a one-man band. The Lone Ranger. Actually, the last of the Mohicans, more like. Ah well. So I've come in the car because it's spitting with rain at the moment, so we could have a bit of a downpour. I've got to protect my camera, clearly. Okay, back to the topic. The gates. Now, why don't I do something about the gates? Why don't I rub them down and rust-proof them and put a top coat on to keep them serviceable throughout the winter? Why don't I pop, rivet or bolt on that missing skirt? Why don't I do that? Well, I could. But the thing is, if I do that, I am working for nothing. I'm using my own time, effort and money. And I'm working for nothing. I am depriving somebody of a job. A job that could give them a wage. A living wage. Not one of these pathetic slavery wages. A living wage. Let's say they employed 3 young people, got them off the job seekers allowance. Trained them up, wouldn't need a lot of training. We could call them the alligators. There you go, a bit of free marketing advice for you. The alligators. We had a little logo with a smiling alligator. For your own security, keep them shut. That might catch on. They could have that on their overalls. Alright? And they could have the sole responsibility of going round the town and further beyond, out in Dalton where there's been other gates fitted and so on, to maintain the gates, keep them in working order. A useful community service, a service to the community, serving the public of the town. Alright? They could take a pride in their work. Pay them £15,000 a year each, a decent wage. Right, it only costs £45,000 a year. That's a chicken feed as far as the county council budget is concerned. It'd give them, well, a reason for living. They'd be able to afford a little place of their own. And buy a bit of furniture, so furnishings. Okay. Spend money on entertainment, putting money back into the local community. Right? Supporting the local economy. That's not a bad reason, is it? So come on, do it. Or is it going to be, oh, no. Get rid of the gates. Get rid of the gates. Get rid of the gates. Get rid of the... We need the money. We'll get the money from the scrap value of all that metal. Sod the local community. The police have said the crime rate has dropped. Yeah. Reported crime has dropped, maybe. Let's see what it's going to be like as soon as those alligators go. Well, if the county council think that this is over, well, not on my behalf it isn't, but if I'm still the last of the Mohicans, which is what I've called myself, if I am really the last of the Mohicans, the Lone Ranger, call it what you like, the lone voice, alright, a voice in the wilderness, then the local people deserve what they get. That's all I can say. If they can't be bothered, then they deserve to reap a harvest, and it'll be a bitter one. So until next time, I'm going to sign off.